fam, welcome back to another YouTube video. I'm gonna give you guys my 5 tips for anyone out there what you should be expecting and what you should know before you step on stage and plan on doing a bodybuilding show. This is from my personal experience. This is my knowledge. This is what I've learned. These are my 5 tips when it comes to getting ready for a show. Again, my personal experience. I don't know everything. This is what I've learned and what I continue to learn as a competitor and also as a coach. But I'm gonna give you guys tip number 1, scheduling. What does that mean? You're getting ready for a bodybuilding show. You have your coach or yourself, which I do recommend you getting a coach, which will lead into my next tip. But scheduling is probably the biggest thing when it comes to doing a bodybuilding prep. Why, you ask? Because you will be eating at least minimum 5 to 6 meals a day, right? You have your meals spaced out and you gotta be eating because you have to get your nutrients, your proteins, carbs, and fats all in one day, you know, because you have a calorie maintenance, whether you're in a deficit or in a surplus. You're just gonna have to be doing the same thing every day. So you have to really dial that in your head that you're gonna be on a schedule. It's almost like another job. It literally is another job where you're eating your meals. You get up early because the earlier you get up, from my personal experience, the more sooner you go to sleep and you'll have all your meals finished by the time it's like 8 or 9. So you never want to eat your meals in the noon and start then, because then that's gonna throw off your schedule. So your schedule has to be on check. Whether you have a girlfriend as well or a boyfriend, they have to understand your schedule. If you plan on going out with friends or family, they have to understand that as well. You have to either bring your meals, especially when you're like 6 weeks out, when it really starts to get hard. Guys, that has to be number 1. You also want to get your hours worth of sleep. You can't run off 4 to 5 hours of sleep getting ready for a bodybuilding show, because that causes a lot of stress to your body and your mind, which will not, from experience, help you out in the long run, especially when you're 2 weeks out. Second tip I want to get into is gonna be experience in coaching, right? You want to have a good, reliable coach. One that you trust, one that will give you 110%, one that's gonna keep you accountable. Again, it is up to you though to do your work. You can't fully have your coach be responsible for everything. You have to want it as much as he does. So remember that you're paying somebody, right, to tell you what you're eating and what you're gonna be working out day-to-day basis in the gym. So you really have to trust your coach, okay? Especially for my dudes. I feel like my dudes are a little bit more, you know, ego can get in the way. Most dudes will always question. So nothing wrong with it though. It's just naturally, that's what we do as guys. So we're gonna hit some legs. I'm gonna talk to you guys there. And those are 2 tips, guys, already. Scheduling, make sure you're gonna be on a structured schedule. Has to be consistent every day, damn near. Can't be 2 days out of the week. No, it has to be consistent. And then experience/coaching. Make sure you find a good, reliable coach. So let's go, because Ripley here is wanting to get putted. And all right, guys, so I wanted to talk about some really pushing your body, especially when you're training. So here I'm focusing on some hamstrings and some glutes. So a lot of emphasis on that. You know, for my previous shows that I've done, one of my weaknesses has been glutes and hamstrings. So I'm really focusing on bringing that up. Your training has to be intense, especially when you're in prep or you're in the off season. I'm gonna be talking about it here in the next tip, but I just wanted to do a little quick voiceover to let you guys know how the workout went and what I was focusing on. And the intensity that I have to be at is at its highest in order to grow and overall just become a better athlete. By the way, I know you guys see the Omnilytics flag up there. Code SEB for all your Omnilytic needs. Muscle mass and patience. What does that mean exactly? So if you're somebody that wants to do a show, especially if you're a younger guy and girl, this is more so for the younger guys, you need to realize you're gonna need muscle mass. Like, you're literally gonna need a established foundation before you start cutting down. Because if you get ready for a show and you prep and you cut down to like X amount of weight, like 30 pounds, 20 pounds, whatever it is, and you don't have muscle mass, you're literally gonna cut down to nothing. You're gonna look like a string bean. A lot of people won't talk about it, but it's the reality of it, especially if you're natural. So if you're natural, it's gonna be a little bit more harder and trickier, believe it or not, because you're not gonna be able to retain a lot of muscle mass cutting down to wherever your stage weight is or whatever your coach has you going to. It doesn't just happen overnight, you know, literally doesn't do anything in a week, 2 weeks, no, it has to happen within months. Like I've been competing since 2020, 4 years going into competitions, and I'm just now starting to do like good. Again, there are people that are different that just have better genetics. You have to take your time. You have to go through an off season, you have to put on some size, eat the right foods, don't dirty bulk from personal experience, you know, quality over quantity. I also wanted to talk about budgeting. I didn't realize how much money I had to spend until like my first show, the show day came. For one, most NPC shows, which is the biggest federation that a lot of people compete in, 150 plus. Okay, so you gotta think about your tan. You know, if you do it yourself, it's a lot more cheaper, but that's still gonna be like at least $60 to $70. Lastly, your food is probably the most expensive as well. You gotta think about all the food you're gonna be eating in a prep, when you're bulking, when you're cutting. Like food nowadays is not cheap at all. You have to at least save up minimum $1,000 in my opinion. And I still don't think that's a lot, especially this time of era. And then lastly, my last and final tip, which is probably gonna be the most important one, is your why. Like what is the motive you're doing a show? What is the purpose and motive you wanna do a bodybuilding show? Because why you wanna do a show before you do a show. You know, a lot of people like me just enjoy the process, the journey of your body changing, not only physically, but just mentally. Like, for example, you know, if you have a job, you know, you have to eat meals and your job's in the way, you're gonna find some way to do that. Find your why, you know, don't just do it because everyone looks good on social media, everyone's doing a show, everyone looks looking shredded. No, do it because you actually enjoy it, because you don't wanna waste time, especially money, energy, into something that you're not 100% there. So make sure you definitely ask yourself, why am I doing this? So make sure you ask yourself why. But that's gonna wrap up today's video. Those are my best 5 tips that I can talk to you guys about before you plan on doing a show. Again, I might have missed some things here and there, but that was just my 5 personal tips at the top of my head that I wanna share with you guys if you guys plan on doing a show. There's a lot of things and variables that will be different in every single person's prep. Some people will be smooth with it, some people may not be so smooth with it. You might have things that come at your life while you're in prep that you just have to stay like relaxed and stress-free. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys in the next video. And as always, subscribe, like, comment. You guys know the vibes. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.